Hello there, I'm Trevor. And on this episode of Somewhere in the Middle, I'm going back to Taco Bell because it's decades time. Let's go. Something I constantly teach my students to do is to summarize, explain, justify, and persuade. And today, I'm gonna do that with Taco Bell and their decade food. That's right, if you didn't already know, Taco Bell is bringing back decades. The 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s is yet to come. But we have the first four, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. We have the first 4 decades to try going back. I'm not a person of the 60s, but 70s, 80s, and 90s, oh boy, was I a big fan of Taco Bell. So let's go enjoy some Taco Bell decades. So today's meal I mobile ordered, and I had the worst experience I've had with mobile ordering at my local Taco Bell. First, I forgot to check the address, and I mobile ordered at the wrong location. You'd think the app would know. I'm not anywhere near that other location, but it still went through. So I got there, I sat at the location here and realized, oh, this is the wrong address. We don't even have your order. I had to put in the order again and wait and wait and wait. For whatever reason, the local Taco Bell by my place deals with everyone in the drive-thru before they even deal with people in the restaurant. I saw people waiting up to 20 minutes for food. For fast food from Taco Bell. Not acceptable. Doesn't really make you want to enjoy your food. Okay, so we have our decades menu here. Starting off in the 60s with our tostada. Let's see what it looks like. Nothing special, just a plain old tostada. Second up, we have the burrito, the green sauce burrito. This was one of my favorites as a kid, the green sauce burrito. The Meximelt. 80s, oh my gosh, this was my favorite thing in the 80s. I got this all the time, the Meximelt. And the Gordita, which is now basically the chalupa. This is one that I still order to this day. I think the Gordita is different than the chalupa in the sense that the bread's different, but still, these are things I always ordered. So let's get into it. I love the tostada. Put some hot sauce on there. Tostada goes. I'm never been a big fan of tostada. I rarely order them, but hey. My beans are cold. It's a tostada. I would say there's a reason. I know people make fun of Taco Bell a lot, but I would say there's a reason they've been around for decades, since the 60s. There's definitely nostalgia here. I've never been the biggest tostada fan, but the beans immediately kick and just remind you, and their hot sauce, you know, just reminds you of sort of being a kid, growing up. All right. So, item 1, down. 60s are done. Next up is the green burrito, or bean and cheese burrito with green sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and just eat this as is. I'm not gonna add hot sauce because when I was a kid, green sauce was my favorite. Now, I probably could not green sauce. We're gonna go 70s. First bite, I didn't get any green sauce. All right, I got a little tiny chance of the green sauce. I'm gonna guess all the green sauce down there at the bottom. It's a bean burrito, or bean and cheese burrito. Not a lot of cheese. They overwhelm me with beans more than the cheese. And to be honest, there is not much green sauce in this. I was expecting way more green sauce. All right, that's a wrap on 60s, or I mean 70s. Green burrito. I can see why they haven't kept it around, to be honest. All right, next up we have the Meximelt. We're moving into the 80s now. This was my little kid thing. And downside is of all this waiting around, this is not gonna be, it's cold. It's not even a melt anymore. It's not, there's no melted cheese, really. What's the difference between a Meximelt and a soft taco? It's supposed to be melted like a quesadilla. This is not melted like a quesadilla.
Come on, smile. Give me a smile.
Say cheese. This is making me hungry.
There's one place you can get a lot of cheese for just 99 cents. Taco Bell introduces Meximelt. Real cheddar, Monterey Jack, ground beef and zesty pico sauce. Together, melted in a warm flour tortilla. The new Meximelt, only 99 cents. Taco Bell has the order. Make a run for the border.
No.
Nope.
That does not remind me of what I used to eat as a kid. When I was a kid, you get these, they were hot, melty. Again, it tastes like a quesadilla with, it's a soft taco quesadilla, essentially. This is just a soft taco now. I would say though, this thing, keep this on the menu. So, let me persuade you. Taco Bell, please keep the Meximelt on the menu. You don't have to do much to it. It's a soft taco, all you gotta do is heat it up in a little quesadilla machine, make that a little bit more melty, so it's actually a Meximelt. And that just tasted like a soft taco. I would like to see that, of the 3 things I've tried so far, keep that on the menu. I would love to see that decade item return and stick around. Last decade, the 90s, the Gordita. The Gordita is what the chalupa used to be, right? It's a Supreme, it's got some sour cream in it. I'm gonna add some fire sauce to it here. There's the Gordita with some fire sauce on it. Again, not too appetizing looking. Okay, Gordita. Let's see how this matches up to one of my favorite things that you guys have seen me eat on the episodes already, the chalupa. This is basically what the chalupa is. Chalupa bread looks different though. Chalupa bread's different than the Gordita. I feel like this was the last thing they made because it's still kind of warm. Everything else had already cooled off. I like the Gordita. I like the chalupa. I'd keep these around. I mean, you don't need to keep the Gordita around because you have the chalupa. All right, decades done. 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I've hit those on the decades menu so far from Taco Bell. There's one more decade they're gonna hit, the 2000s, bringing back their caramel empanada. That comes later. It might be out by the time this episode drops, I'm not sure. So let's summarize. Taco Bell brought out decades as a means for people like me that have a little bit of nostalgia towards Taco Bell. Does everyone have nostalgia for Taco Bell? Heck no. A lot of people won't even eat Taco Bell, won't even touch it. Personally, I've always liked it. Ever since I was a little kid, I was a big fan of Taco Bell. When I was in the 90s in high school, Taco Bell was often our hangout. That's where we met on Friday nights before you went out. So people would meet at Taco Bell and then find out what things were going on that night or that weekend. Again, the 90s, we didn't have cell phones. Maybe some of your friends had pagers, but most people did not. You had to talk on a phone in order to get a hold of each other, or just meet up in person. Say, hey, this is where we're going, and then meet up. Can Taco Bell justify doing this decades thing? Absolutely. The company's been around since the 60s. It's gone through a series of changes. The old actual Taco Bell brick and mortar building, whereas then there was the neon colors of the 90s and what the insides of those restaurants looked like. I have absolute nostalgia for that period of time. The 90s and the neon colors. It reminds me of an action movie, a sci-fi action movie with Sylvester Stallone, Demolition Man.
So, what's with this cocktail guy anyway? He says I saved his life, which I'm not even sure I did, and my reward is dinner and dancing at Taco Bell. I mean, hey, I like Mexican food, but come on.
Your tone is quasi-facetious, but you do not realize that Taco Bell was the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars.
So?
So, now all restaurants are Taco Bell.
No way.
Taco Bell is part of our lexicon here in the United States. And I absolutely think that they did an interesting job, or I think there's justification in this idea of bringing back decades for that nostalgia purposes. Is it going to persuade you to want to go get Taco Bell? I think the only way that this persuades you, and it's a justification for you, is which of those things did you want? Like, if you loved the tostada, you may want to try the 60s tostada. It's just a tostada. There's nothing to it. The green burrito. You can tell why they got rid of it. The consistency of the sauce wasn't necessarily there, but, you know, it tasted like a green bean and cheese burrito. The last two, the ones I have more affinity for, right? The 80s and 90s, the Meximelt and the Gordita. The Meximelt is still around in a soft taco form. It just doesn't have the melted cheese in it. And the Gordita has morphed into the chalupa. And both of those I would still say are great. For me, one, Taco Bell was absolutely justified, right, in doing a decades nostalgia pull. It persuaded me to want to go try their food and make an episode for you guys to watch and enjoy. I hope you're enjoying and you're still with me at this point. And I guess, you know, to summarize, I thought this was an okay little marketing play. It got me to go back to Taco Bell, and it didn't get me to just order what I would always order, like nacho fries or a nacho Bel Grande. In this instance, I ordered off of the Decades menu. You know, I haven't done one of these in a while, so I think it's time for a fast food craving quote of the day, or episode quote. Let's see what we got. Steve Jobs once said, "Your time is limited,
So don't waste it living someone else's life.
Whoa, that's deep. It also kind of makes me think of here, I'm on YouTube, and, you know, a lot of times I see other YouTube channels and they influence what I do. And I try to make my videos be my videos. And I hope you, the audience that have been here and been watching, I hope you feel that. I hope you enjoy the content that myself and Jessica are making together for you. And, you know, we're trying to take you into our lives and getting you engaged in not just eating fast food with me, but going to the movies, going to Disneyland, spending time with us. So thanks for joining me on this episode, eating some decades of Taco Bell. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you in the next episode. Auf Wiedersehen.